All right. So we're fixing to start the Chaos Cast multicast slash podcast. So welcome in. If you're coming in, share this out. I've lately tried to start the podcast a little bit after I do all the shouting out and hey, come on in, talking, because it just gets a little wild trying to do both. So you're going to get to go in with me to this experience of podcasting. Now, if you're somebody that can't hang around for a long time, you want to watch the recap, go follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or you can go to our podcast on Spotify and wherever you do podcasts. Just search the Chaos Cast, and you'll see that wonderful ghost knife emblem sitting in front of some beautiful mountains, and it's just beautiful. I made it myself. I hope you like it. But yeah, you can go and you can find that and you can give us a follow and help us reach that goal of our first 50 followers on Spotify. And as I get more followers, I'm going to be able to monetize and do more things. So if you're just now coming in, it's good to have you. Hit that follow button. Give us a follow. Hit that sub button. Give us a subscription. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. Maybe you don't like us. We don't really care, but let us know in the comments. Again, we're going to tell you the rules. No abuse, so don't be abusing nobody. No evasive politics. We'll discuss the politics of the news, and you can have your take on it because we're not political. We just talk about the news headlines, and we discuss the current collapse of our global civilization and society and culture and just everything that's just falling apart right now. But yeah, hit that follow button. Share this out to your friends. Let's get some folks in here. And oh yeah, don't mention kids. Don't bring up any kind of vulgarity towards kids. Mine, if they're in the background, yours or anybody else's, because we will report you on that. No racism. We don't do racism. That's just stupid. And yeah, again, share it out to your friends and hit that follow button. It's good to see you in there. Save us from Trump. Welcome in. Brad A. Hearn, welcome in. We got Becca Baby Girl, welcome in. Good to see you. Billy Gregory, welcome in. Who else we got coming in? We got a few coming in on Facebook Live right now. So welcome in. Good to have you if you're here on Facebook Live. We're doing the multicast. We're doing the Chaos multicast. We're glad to have you. If you're coming in on Instagram, we're glad to have you. You're coming in on YouTube. I'm trying to find that camera so I can look you right in the eye. If you're coming in on YouTube, thank you for coming in. It's glad to have you. Now things are not getting better for anybody. Hey, slap nuts. We got a troll. When the mods come in, we will have to block you. All right, so we're fixing to start the Chaos Cast. It's a great little thing. I like to call the Chaos Cast, and we have a good time. We talk about current situations. So we're going to talk to you about some news headlines. We have our receipts, as you would say. We have our sources, and we're going to talk about them as we get going. We're going to talk about what's happening in Poland, what they tried to make it out to be, and this constant push for Zelensky just wanting us to go to World War III. He don't care about the rest of the world. He's just, hey, y'all come in here and save me. So we're starting that podcast. 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Chaos Cast here, wherever you're doing your podcast. We are doing our multicast. We are streaming live on Spotify through Anchor and everywhere that we can get that link to go, that RSS feed. So welcome in. Again, we're going live on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So we're glad to have you. Let's give everybody a good cheer. Welcome in. Yeah, man, they should never turn me loose with no daggum sound effects over here. Oh, all these sound effects. I can even make laughs to my jokes when y'all don't laugh at them. I love it. Welcome into the Chaos Cast. We're gonna have a good time. But yeah, again, it's good to have you in here. So we're gonna talk about different news. Share this out to your friends. When you hit them like buttons. Hey, we got Danny in here. Danny. It's good to see you, my friend. Again, if you want to come up towards the end and discuss something, you can by all means, hit that button and we'll bring you up towards the end. We're going to go for about an hour and a half, probably to about 2:15, because I got to get supper cooked, because I got to go to work later, because I do work a job. And I'm going to just say this from the beginning. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Amish. I'm Pentecostal, because that question gets asked every time we come in here. So let's share this out, my friends. Hit that follow button. Hit that share button. Share it out to your friends. Tell them to come in here. We want them. We want them in here. Now, this is from CNBC. Now, I mean, there was tons of sources. This is the main news. It's what they want you looking at, folks. A flurry of urgent and high-level diplomatic talks are taking place among NATO members on Wednesday as more details emerge following a missile that struck Polish territory last night. Russia was heavily suspected of firing the missile that killed 2 Polish citizens, although it denied any involvement, calling it a provocation. Meanwhile, NATO members, particularly Poland and its Eastern European neighbors and former Soviet states in the Baltics, said there would be a tough response if Russia is found to be behind the attack. Initial findings suggest, however, that the Russian-made missile was not likely to have been fired from Russia, with U.S. President Joe Biden even saying the trajectory of the missile does. Let's see if I can do my best, Biden. The trajectory of the missile does not support the theory. Yeah. But no, Biden is noted as saying that the trajectory of the missile does not support that theory. The Associated Press cited U.S. officials suggesting that it could have been Ukrainian forces firing a missile to intercept a Russian one. So they're saying, yeah, we're firing this missile to we're just trying this to deflect the Russian missile. So yeah, it was still a threat anyways. You need to come and you need to attack Russia. I mean, it's just constantly the same thing, begging the world, come into Russia. And I understand, you don't want your country being took over, but it's getting to the point where they're faking attacks. They're faking these attacks, trying to get us involved. I can't say that for sure they're doing this, but it just seems a lot like they are. Seems a lot like they're trying to just get everybody involved with no care for the rest of us, no care for what's going to happen if there's a nuclear war, if there is an attack on our soil, if, in my opinion, as Danny's saying. But yeah, I just don't care for this whole thing with Ukraine. Everybody's saying, we got to support Ukraine. The people that don't have to go out there and fight are saying, let's go out there and fight. I mean, the people that don't want to go and have to fire a gun, they're saying, well, let's go to war. Let's shoot some nukes. Let's send the drones over there. But this is all wars are mainly won by boots on the ground. No matter how many drones you're gonna have. At some point, we've got to quit calling for war. I mean, we used to, and we're seeing the party that used to gripe about intervention in the Middle East, the party that used to gripe about war, call for. But we're also seeing a bunch of the Republican Party as well call for fighting. I'm just not into this anymore. We can't afford this anymore. We have got massive inflation right now. We've got tons of things going on here. We need to worry about here. We need to worry about us right now. And you might say that's selfish. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I don't really care. I mean, this is my opinion, but I'm tired of fighting other people's wars. At some point, we're going to weaken ourselves to the point where, we can't, we can't do this. And, Jerry Dell says, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. It says, I was asking the same thing when Russia said we didn't do that. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at this point where, we've got to just start worried about America for a little while till we get stable. This whole police the world, this whole, whatever it is that they're wanting to do, I'm just tired of it. I don't like it. I mean, we've got to take care of our own. We're going to give so much of ourselves, there ain't going to be nothing left to give, folks. And we're in a particularly precarious situation, and people like to deny this. You know, we see this person says things are not falling apart, things are getting better. I mean, we got a potential world war. You know, the people and as we're going to report later, the youth of China, which literally the future workers of China, the future manufacturing base of the world, the supply chain of the world. I mean, they're literally getting ready to quit. This whole let it rot thing, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And that might be why my numbers are so low, because I'm talking about let it rot. They don't like that in China. So the 16 of you that are in here when I normally have over 100, we're going to talk about let it rot. Help me share this out, folks. Help me get this out here. Let's share the heck out of this. Let's get our friends in there, because I've literally, no matter how much I've shared, it has not went back up. They are stifling it. They don't like it. That's social media, social engineering. This is not what we like. You don't talk about this. We'll talk about something else, or you're not going to get any suggestions on For You pages. So that's the way it goes. But you know, it is what it is. We're going to talk about it anyways, and then tomorrow we'll talk about or not tomorrow, but Friday we'll talk about something else. For your listening pleasure, we'll share that out. Thank y'all for sharing that out. Those of you that do. But people are like, you know, there's nothing bad happening. Okay, here's the thing. We don't have a predominantly farming-based citizenry anymore. So all it would take was one small thing to cause a domino effect where people going to starve. And a world war, if you don't remember reading about it in history, in World War II, we had to have victory gardens. My friend Girl Food Now down there, that's what she pushes, is victory gardens, people growing victory gardens, people getting back to growing food again. Well, I think we literally supplied over 40% of our own food from victory gardens during World War II. Why? Because wars take materials, they take food, they take fuel, they take all kinds of. We're already struggling right now with fuel. We're struggling right now with all kinds of situations because of ignorant sanctions. And people are just sitting here wondering, you know, why are we doing this? Why are we letting this Ukrainian movie star that played a president in a movie that's somehow now a president, go figure, this is true stuff, go look it up, is trying to bring us into World War III. I just don't like it. I don't care for it. It's ignorant. It's stupid. We've got to stop, my friends. We don't need to be doing this. Now, everybody's big talking point today, and I really don't care no more. Y'all know I don't care about politics. This comes from Reuters. Former President Donald Trump's entry on Tuesday into the 2024 presidential race confirmed the world's worst kept secret and created another variable for markets that some investors say remains a low priority for now. And I'm just going to say this. I like DeSantis. I think he'd be a good, a good guy to go into this situation. You know what? I'm going to stop TikTok right now and restart it. So those of you, well, it's going back up. There we go. Because it looked like I done something they didn't like. Gordon Hall, Neville Chamberlain. I'd have to look it up. I think I remember him, but in the comments, Gordon Hall, let us know who Neville Chamberlain was. But yeah, Trump's running again. Now, here's my thing. If you believe that Donald Trump really won, now I talked to a lot of people that say, I believe he really won. I believe that, that there was voter fraud, and they're already saying that now about the midterm elections. Do you really believe him running is going to allow, he's really going to be able to get anything done? Because last time he didn't, because he had to fight everybody that came along. Last time, he was pulled out because the regular politicians didn't like him. The liberals hated him. The media hated him. There was so much controversy. If you're one of those conservatives that want to vote him back in, did you not watch last time? I am going to say it, and you may not like that. Did you not watch the last time? That same thing's going to happen again. And I'm not saying that we should, that's good that these things are happening, because it happens on both sides. What I see in politics today, I literally believe on both sides, at any side of the point, Any politician that's been in there for more than 2 terms should be booted out. They shouldn't be able to ever run after 2 terms. There should be no lobbyists because that's how the corporations get their laws enacted. We should not have any lobbyists. Anybody that leaves Washington should not be able to go and be a lobbyist or work for any kind of election campaign. They got to stay neutral afterwards. There shouldn't be any kind of financial organizations that are able to, that anybody that's left a financial organization or a big corporation, they shouldn't be able to go and run for a politician, because we see like Goldman Sachs, these people are interchangeable between the Fed and different areas. I mean, so many corporations. And then like there was the Joe Rogan podcast we was listening to the other day. We were listening to this man. He's I think it's it is an organic farm out in Georgia. Now he says that there's no way to get everybody to go this direction because big food, Pilgrim's Pride, all these big companies that run the food industry that feed us this garbage food, literally, they're some of their how would you say it? Some of their biggest, some of the biggest industry heads, they give jobs to these people when they retire from these government management and oversight agencies. So there's that big potential. If you work with them, they're going to let you come out and you're going to get you a good job and you're going to get to work for them today. And there's so much of that going on in Congress. Now, no matter what you believe, if you're against, if you're for the people, you don't want people having more than a couple term limits. Why? Because they're setting up a political aristocracy. They're setting up the new aristocracy in America. Think about it. These people's kids are running. They're running. They're handing over the reins to this area they've been over all their lives to their kids. It's just like kings and queens used to be in England. We got a bunch of fiefdoms all around America right now being run by a bunch of corporate crooks that have been either worked for the corporations or planning to go work for the corporations. They're getting paid off and lobbied by the corporations. And if you trust your government officials right now, I'm telling you, folks, they've had too much time in there to be trusted. They've had too much time to be in there to be trusted. Save us from Trump. Did you tell you that? It's obvious. It is freaking obvious that these people, Mitch McConnell don't have my best interest at heart. Lindsey Graham don't have my best interest at heart. He's sending money over to Pakistan for gender studies. Heck, they need that here right now. They need to figure out what gender they are. They need to figure out what the real genders are. We're not even get into that. That's stupid crap. But you look at Nancy Pelosi, all these millions she's worth now. You can literally invest in what she is investing in, and you're going to make money. You're going to get rich. Think about that. These people don't have our interests at heart. And Trump, if you think Trump's going to save the world, I really don't believe that. I really don't believe he's going. This whole QAnon situation that everybody believes in, the white hats are coming in. They're running special operations. I seen this because I watched some of the things, just see what they're saying. And afterwards, I seen so many saying that this is part of the plan. It's always part of the dang plan when we get screwed. At what point? It don't matter what it is. They're passing this law. They're taking this from you. But hey, it's part of the plan. Just more evidence in the pile. People don't look at history anymore. You got the White Army during the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Hey, the White Army, man, I'm telling you, it's the same thing as these white hats you're talking about. That whole QAnon thing, it's the same thing that happened there. They found it out, they infiltrated it, and they used that to find out who they needed to target, who was against their communist regime that they were setting up. At some point, we've got to understand. Yeah, nobody's going to save this economy right now. Desert Skies, it's so screwed up right now. They're about to. There's a lot of rumors that they're fixing to trying to collapse this thing and take us from the petro-backed currencies to a digital currency. I've heard rumors that it's going to be based on the Ripple coin XPR or XRP. Maybe wrong. I don't believe that. I believe it's going to be a central banking controlled programmable cryptocurrency. Because why? Because we've seen Bill Gates talk about this stuff. Bill Gates, he was talking about the coronavirus and vaccine mandates and all these things before they ever happened. You know, these are plans to take your rights, to take your ability to spend your money on what you want. I see in other countries right now, there's high surveillance, there's social credit systems, and they can literally stop you and your children and their children from spending your money on certain things if you do not follow their rule of law, or if you go against what they don't like, if you're against certain people, they can have that change. So you imagine, you take the corruption that you, on either side, you take the corruption you believe is on either side, whatever side of the fence, and you give that power to politicians to regulate what you can and can't spend. So 1 minute in LA, you're going to be able to buy sodas. If somebody else comes in that's got a narrative, hey, there ain't nobody can buy no more sodas anymore. It's bad for your health. You're going to die. If they don't want you to do this, well, hey, you can't spend your money on that today. You got too many other things you need to spend it on. And then you let the corporations get involved in that. Well, we think you need to spend your money on this. Your crypto's being shut down over here. This new startup we don't like, you can't spend your money there. They're already doing these things. They're already doing this stuff, and we don't even have programmable digital currencies anymore. Not basing my whole thing on China. This is Gordon Hall. He says, so you're basing your whole thing on China. I'm basing this on what we see these people doing. They want control. Now, China, they've done this to a degree. There's documentations. But if we turn our current politicians loose with this, imagine what they will do to you. Imagine what they're going to do to anybody that speaks out to them. You know, we're going to keep him from buying anything but the basic staples of food over here until he shuts his mouth. You know, we're not going to limit your free speech, but we're going to limit what you can spend your money on. We're going to limit what you can do. They're working towards a global system, and that global system wants to run your life. And the World Economic Forum, we look at what they're talking about. Here's a little bit of what the World Economic Forum is trying to push right now. And let's look at this. With an end of the week deadline, this is from Associated Press, with an end of the week deadline rushing at them faster than agreements are coming out of them, negotiators at the UN Climate Summit were in a difficult spot Wednesday. Talks in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh got off to a plodding start and are behind the pace of previous meetings as government ministers return to Egypt to take over negotiations with 3 days left before the scheduled close of Friday. I think we still have a long way to go, but I remain hopeful that we can come to good conclusions. The European Union's top climate official Frans Timmermans told the Associated Press, demands for rich nations to provide additional aid for vulnerable countries suffering devastating impacts from climate change have become a major point of division at the 2-week meeting. Developed countries such as the United States have long resisted the idea of loss and damage for fear of being held financially liable for the carbon dioxide they pumped into the atmosphere for decades. Okay, so they're saying that the average American citizen is going to have to, spend their tax dollars towards helping other countries that are impoverished. They're saying we're going to, because we caused that with climate change. Where's the proof? How do we know for sure? See, we've talked about the pollution in the ocean, and we've talked about how they blame that on America. But two sources of the pollution in the ocean. There's two river sources that a majority of the pollution comes into the ocean, and they're not in America. All the big plastic, that big swath of plastic out on the ocean, they say, well, that's all them bottles you've been throwing down on the beach or throwing out. No, it just keeps growing. What it is these ecological talking points of these politicians. What they do is they tell you something to make you feel good. So you throw your stuff in the bin. You throw it in the right bin. But here's the thing. It's cheaper to recycle in China. So they send them over on ships to China, and they mysteriously fall off the boat. They mysteriously get lost in transit. A majority of what you're seeing in the ocean was lost while we were doing what made us feel good, shipping it to other countries. Now, there's people at the UN that are admitting to this. This guy from the UN was talking to Joe Rogan the other day. I listen to Joe Rogan a whole lot. He always brings in different points of view, things that the mainstream don't want you to listen to. And this guy's saying, he's saying, yeah, a majority of that came from where we were shipping it to other countries. They just dumped it in the ocean because they don't have the same EPA regulations we do. So we outsource these things to other places. So this whole climate tax, it makes people feel good. We're going to tax American people. We're going to tax the European people. We're going to tax the Russian people. But right now, a majority of the pollution that's going out into the atmosphere is coming from these coal plants in another unnamed country. We're not going to say their name because they own this out, and we're going to be nice. But they're burning coal, and they're not burning clean coal. They're burning that coal we don't even burn anymore that comes from Alaska. And when they had the Olympics there, they had to shut down plants. They had to stop people from driving cars just to clear the smogs from their cities. Why? Because they're not worried about the pollution. They're worried about their bottom dollar. And these small nations think, well, America's got lots of money. Let's take it. America's got as much money as they can print. As much money as they can print. I'm gonna tell you that money's only worth what people are gonna let you buy with it. And I'm gonna tell you that's going up every day. It's going up every day in Europe. Right now we got 15% of inflation in the Eurozone. We talked about that a few weeks ago. We put the receipts up. Go back and listen to it on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, or on the podcast. We're not throwing those receipts out there no more. We've done put those receipts out there. But they're wanting control of your nation. They're wanting to tell you what you can do, what you need to do for these people that you've never met, that you've never been around, but yet you've caused all their problems. I'm sick of it, man. I didn't cause these problems. I'm going to tell you, the average American citizen, we didn't cause these problems. You know who caused these problems? Money-hungry politicians, money-hungry corporate leaders. Why? Because they lobbied politicians on both sides to get the laws in favor of their bottom dollar. What we're edging towards, and what a lot of conservatives don't look at, there is a bad side of capitalism. It's called laissez-faire capitalism, when multinational corporations have control of the economy in your country, but they're disassociated from the people in the country. We've seen it before. The Irish potato famine. We talk about this a lot of times, and we may have new people in here. Irish potato famine. What caused it? Well, yeah, there was a blight, but what exacerbated the problem? What caused it to be worse? Think about it. All right. So you had England running it at the time. So rich British nobility were buying up the land in Ireland, and they were keeping these. It was basically sharecropping. So basically the people that were working the land, the Irish people, well, when the blight hit, the food, the potatoes, were still being sent over to England because these rich guys own the land. They didn't live there, so they're not worried about they don't know what's happening. They don't understand. They don't care about what's happening. And then the aristocracy at the time figures out what's happened, but they don't want to look bad, so they hide it. The queen hides it of that time. So then she hides it to the point, she denies it to the point that they're having this struggle. When she's offered help, I believe there was a sultan offered her relief. We're going to bring some food in to help these folks. Because more than likely they depended on that supply of potatoes to some degree. These guys didn't just bring it all into England. They probably exported it too because they didn't care about the people on the street in England. So these guys offered help. She denied it because it would look bad. It would look like she had really had a problem, that she had really screwed things up. And the same thing's happening today with our capitalism. It's becoming laissez-faire. It's becoming, we're the big corporation. We're not worried about the guy on the ground that's losing his job. We're not worried about the person that's suffering from inflation. We're not worried about the person that's over here suffering because we're outsourcing everything over to another country because it's cheaper. They know where it's. They knew exactly what was happening, but they did not care. The rich aristocracy did not care. And I'm not against capitalism. I'm for capitalism. I got some friends that's not. I'm not for socialism. I'm not for communism. But there are bad sides to these things because people are fallible. People are business people, especially are slated to focus solely on what they're trying to achieve, no matter the cost. Why? Because they get so high up, they get so disassociated with the one, the little people, the people like me and you that are sitting out here in the backwoods of Alabama spending $600 a month. Went from a month to every 2 weeks on groceries just to keep your family took care of and fed. You've had to change where you go. You've had to change what you do because fuel is going up. You've had to not go to certain events you normally would go to. Why? Because of the fuel is so costly to get there. It's a couple hours away. You've got other bills that are more pressing. You've got kids that have things going on. I mean, look. This nation is unstable. It's financial institutions. I had a person tell me the other day, well, it's bad. There's money everywhere. It's not as bad as you think. Maybe it's not. I'm willing to say it. Maybe I'm just sitting here speaking through the megaphone and it's wrong. But you know what? I'll still be okay because them beans are going to last me for a good long time. We'll eat on them for a while. They're already 3 or 4 times worth what I spent on them. Okay? All right? I've got seed put up. I can plant me a garden for a good long time on some of the seeds I've planted, and some of the GMO seeds, I'll just keep taking seed and replanting. Okay, I'm good. But here's the thing. It don't matter how much money you got if there ain't nothing in there to buy. And then if that money's not worth nothing, you're going to be like they were in Germany over there when they're rolling around their marks in a wheelbarrow buying a loaf of bread. This is the thing people don't understand. Economics is complex, first off. Second off, there's no magic stash of money sitting somewhere. We're not Scrooge McDuck back on the Disney cartoons back in the 80s where he's swimming in his big money bank. Ain't nobody got that. There's no big money bank full of gold coins somewhere, folks. They're printing this stuff on printers. It's only worth as much as they make it, basically, as many of them's out there. It's just like crypto. As much as out there, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down. The average person don't realize that. Hey, Big John, thanks for that share, man. Not in my pocket, no words, and not mine. This guy is a businessman, and he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. I love him to death. I work for him, and he's seeing the business because he's in a transportation industry. And yeah, there's a lot of money right now. But at the same time, the average person on the working base, $20 an hour don't go as far as $20 an hour used to go. We know that. When I walk in and I'm looking at, I want to get my kids a treat. I want to get them a little 2-liter Coke to drink. And that same 2-liter Coke used to be $1.50, $1.75. Now it's $2.75. And this was within a year. It was $1.50 for a long time. It was $1 for a long time. Think about that, man. I mean, we're seeing the world begin to encroach on our society. And when you take something and you make it real big, you got a lot of bureaucrats. And when bureaucrats are running things, I want you to understand, when bureaucrats are running things, they're not worried about you. They're worried about this right here, bottom lines and papers. And, I look at this continuously. This is why I tell people you need to be prepared. You need to have food security. You need to have an ability to plant and grow food. Why? Because if this mug collapses, there's a lot of folks that don't know how to grow food anymore. When the Depression happened and it affected the world, you had, I believe, an 80% farming base. That was what our economy majority was based on. It was growing. We don't got that no more, folks. I feel an urgency in my soul. I feel the Lord telling me this. This is why I do these things. Is we got to start getting back to, we got to get our house in order. We got to start learning to take care of our family. And I'm not just talking about budgeting money. You got to learn to start doing without money. I may be going to do some content pretty soon, not just on cheap prepping, but on cheap lifestyle living. Mama used to have us some pintos in the crock pot, and that's what we'd eat: pinto beans, cornbread, macaroni, and we might have a little meat side. Uncle James bring by some deer from hunting. Mama be fixing up roast. Mama be fixing up, deer burger. What we had to go without because we were broke. Alabama's a predominantly poor state as it is, and it's been that way. It was that way when the Depression hit. It's even worse when the Depression was going. And it's not got a ton better. We're seeing some progress in Huntsville. We're seeing the Rocket City grow. It's great. In some ways it's not, because with progress brings in rich, unassociated people that are going to buy up the land and screw anybody that's been around there. Nova Ranch, we need to vote the boomers out and the millennials in. I would almost agree with that. A majority of the problems we've had in America were the boomers. they were that group. The only hard things they ever really faced was the Cold War and maybe Vietnam to a degree. But the boomers were Vietnam was pretty rough, but it was that was something we could have avoided. But I see so many people and they're like, these kids don't want to work, and these kids don't want to work for you. They don't want to work for you. That's the thing. You see so many of the new generation starting online businesses, starting businesses as influencers. It's a legitimate thing to do now. You're providing entertainment. See, the thing about the internet is it's took the monopoly on entertainment and news from the mainstream. Now, I get on here every day and, not every day anymore, but I can get on here most days and reach 3,000 to 4,000 people in a live stream. That's just on TikTok. That's not counting on who's going to listen to recaps, who's going to watch recaps, and that's continuously growing. That's continuously going up. Every day on every app that I'm on, I'm seeing followings grow. Currently on YouTube now, I'm hitting 2,000. I'm glad. Go follow me there. On Instagram, I'm a couple thousand, about 2,500 people. Go follow me there. If they kick me off here for whatever reason, I see a lot of people getting mad about it. Hey, I still got the website. I still got here. I still got the podcast on like 8 different platforms. That's growing. That's the new thing, and it's already growing. I hit 50 people. I'm going to be able to monetize. What's going to happen when I can monetize? Hey, we're going to do some stuff, folks. I might be able to replace one of these here old phones right here and get something new. Because if you don't know, I'm running this operation on 4 old phones, a refurbished iMac, and a plug-in and a printer and Google and Safari and Riverside and Anchor. That's what I'm running this on, and every app I can get on. But we're getting to this point where the average person, the things that are going on are so complicated. The average person cannot conceive how much it's like. It's like a big old snot bubble. We're gonna put this in simplest terms anybody can understand, and you just keep breathing. And that big old snot bubble keeps getting bigger. And then I got a big mess. That's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. This is where the bureaucrats, this is where the corporations, this is where the UN, this multinational food web supply chain system has got us. Often I wonder, if we are in the last days that I believe in from the Bible, if a lot of that wasn't man-made catastrophes that we read about in Revelations and why it's so bad. People trying to do crap that screwed up everything, and then there the world's dealing with that, and the Lord's like, it's time for judgment. Y'all screwed everything up. Man can do a lot of great things, and then man can do a lot of bad things. Josh Griselle, my old boss from Sonic. Heck yeah, good to see you, my friend. Josh is a businessman. He's a go-getter. I'm proud of him. As far as I know, him and Stacy, they bought up a bunch of business, and they're growing. So that's a good thing there. Good to see some businessmen, a local businessman growing. Gave me my start. They let me start flipping burgers for them and put up with me for all them years. I didn't know nothing. That's back when I had a scraggly mustache and no beard. It's a pretty little baby face. And then a girl made fun of my scraggly beard. It's mostly scarred me, so I shaved it and never grew one again. And everybody thinks I'm Amish and Muslim. And I'm just Pentecostal. I love Jesus. We're going to get going here a little further. Now, this is from the LA Times. We report on a lot of these instances in these major cities, these large, supposedly gun-free zones, gun control zones. There's a lot going on. We had like 4 or 5 stabbings I read about today, mass stabbings. People are reporting on mass stabbings now because some of these areas, they can't get a hold of a gun, so they're just going to grab a knife And then the people there don't have no gun to stop these people with knives. But LA Times, 5 Los Angeles County sheriffs, man, a lot of crap happens in LA and Chicago and New York. I'm just saying, you get a lot of people together, ain't going to be a lot of jump blow off. And I'm telling you, that's why I don't like cities. I don't like going in there. But LA Times, 5 Los Angeles County sheriff's cadets were critically injured Wednesday morning when a driver plowed into a large group during a run in Whittier, authorities said. The crash occurred near the sheriff's training academy. Let's see here. Near Mills Avenue and Trumbull Street, Deputy David Yu said. The recruits were members of the Stars Explorer Academy. Dispatchers received a call at 6:26 a.m. about a crash involving pedestrians. Deputy Brenda Cerna said the cause of the crash is under investigation, she said. And Idaho College, okay, that's the next story. But it's under investigation, but one of the articles I read, they run into 22 cadets on the road. What happened? It was another old lady that hit the gas instead of the brake, maybe. Or was this a vehicular homicide? We see that more and more. We see it over in Europe a lot. This is a heart problem. This ain't no tool problem. This ain't because of guns. This is because of heart. They're going to find a way to do something no matter what. As we go in, an Idaho college town remains on edge on Wednesday as the killer or killers who stabbed 4 students to death in a brutal targeted attack is still at large 3 days on from the slayings. The bodies of University of Idaho students Ethan Chapman, 20, Madison Mogan, 21, Zana Gernodal, 20, and Kaylee Goncalves, 21, were found in an off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho, at around midday on Sunday. Just hours earlier, one of the group had shared smiling photos of the 4 friends on their Instagram page. The victims died of stab wounds from an edged weapon, such as a knife, that has not yet been recovered, police said on Tuesday. So if they're not using guns, they're using knives. If they're not using knives, they're using sticks. They even have laws against large baton-style flashlights in some European areas. Okay, they have a lot of laws around the world besides America where you can't own more than a 3-inch blade. Like if you're carrying this around and you don't have a reason and you're not out and doing a camp or something like that, you're gonna get arrested for having this. Now I see people around here carrying these all the time, or they have them in their car. You can't do that over in these other countries. They keep outlawing weaponry and things, but I'm gonna tell you, we've proven in this country sidewalk can be a weapon. That's what old boy was getting his head bashed into the sidewalk down there in Florida, and he shot that kid. They proved that was a weapon because he was using it to bludgeon this guy's head. So you can't stop crime. This is a heart problem in our nation. You can't stop this stuff. How you doing, Blessed Angel? Good to see you. This is a heart problem. Why? Because it's a symptom of society. The current society we are in is corrupt. It is sick. It is on edge. We have more mental instability, more mental health issues than ever before. We have just more crime. We have more evil, just more corruption and evil. And I believe it's as the leadership leads, people follow. Well, we got some corrupt leadership all around, especially the Western world. And people are just following the example they see. You got to be very careful of what you let influence you. There's that scripture that says, talks about not be unevenly yoked, like not to yoke a donkey and an ox together. You don't let someone influence you to know they're going to take you in the wrong direction. That ox may take the donkey off the side of the cliff. We got to really start looking at our hearts, folks. We got a heart issue, not just in America, around the world. Our leaders are just some of the most. I mean, when you have the accusations of pedophilia, when you have the accusations of money laundering, I listened to a documentary the other day about how basically the Middle Eastern war and wars were money laundering. They were basically laundering money. And now that we got these accusations of the money laundering with cryptocurrency and the FTX exchange coming now through where they've used the Ukrainian war to launder money. They always launder money, folks. How do you think these politicians come out on the other end with so much money at a job that only pays $200,000 a year? They might have that. It may be more now, but with inflation, I don't know. I don't trust politicians. You know who I trust? I trust Jesus. That's I don't even trust myself. Why? Because I know I'm fallible. I know I'm a human. I know there may be an instance where I may make a decision that's contrary to me with my lack of understanding in the long run, and I may screw myself. Well, we've all done it. You know it. You know you have. I don't even trust myself. Somebody ever says, you don't trust me? I'm like, I don't trust nobody. I had a minister ask me at one time. He said, you believe them over me? And I said, I don't trust nobody. I don't even trust myself. I said, don't think you're exclusive to my trust. My trust is in Jesus, not people. That's the thing. If you don't like it, I understand, but that's what I'm about. I'm just me. And we bring the news. So if you don't believe it, you can stay around and listen to the news. But people's fallible. Yeah, I don't even trust myself. I love people. Don't get me wrong. I love people. It's kind of like Samuel L. Jackson said. He says he didn't love people, but he didn't trust them. He carried that 22 bag to his lunchbox. That's me. I love you to death, but don't trust you. And you better not try to get me because I'm gonna put up a fight. Thanks, Kate. Oh, Lord, I knocked my light off. Let me plug the light up. You don't ever know what's going to happen on the Chaos Cast because it's chaos, folks. It's chaos. Let's turn that light back on. I knocked it unplugged. There we go. We're back. We're back. That's a good thing about podcasts and multi-streams. You can come back. You know, pause for these messages. No, we don't got them. You know what? We do got some messages. Right now we have, you can go look at our ReadyWise commercial, or you can go to the link in our bio and you can get your own ReadyWise adventure meals, food buckets. You can get your family prepared. What we want is you to get ready with us at ReadyWise. And you can follow that link on our website to ReadyWise, and you can apply the code E29TEN to save 10% right now. And each one of these you purchase is going to help us spread the news, help people prepare the content you see on our accounts. If you're not following us and you're not watching the content, go check the content out. We're teaching you new things continuously. We're always learning new things ourselves. I used to not know nothing. I didn't know nothing. And then I started learning stuff and I started trying to teach other people. So yeah, go get this. This helps us with that. I mean, we keeping the website running. We got costs with that. We got costs with just different things. We're not fully monetized. We're just working on it. And Blackbeard fire starters, you can go check the link out. We got a couple of good videos up of Blackbeard fire starters. We're going to get some more up. These are awesome. I've been able to start a fire in the wet and cold. These are awesome. Same thing. That's the whole point of my fire starters. It's one of the best ferro rods I've ever used. It's not a soft ferro rod. You're not going to use this thing up real quick. It is a good, solid ferro rod. I've started a lot of good fires with it so far. It comes with a scraper and some paracord lanyard. Always good to have extra cordage. And I just love how they supply that. And we got this. Let me find it. The arc lighter. They got these. So this is one of my affiliates right now, one of my sponsors that supply you with things you can really afford for just everyday people that's getting started. Look at that arc lighter. Heck yeah. I love it. But go check them out. You can find them on their link on our website. It's that big black and yellow pirate, old Blackbeard himself. Hey, that'd be good, Jerry Dale. Yeah, set up and meet with Arms Homestead, and we'll get him on here. That'd be great. Arms Homestead's them folks up on YouTube. They're pretty good, big creators, and Jerry Dale lives near. Jerry Dale lives near everybody. Jerry Dale knows Joe Exotic. He put Joe Exotic's radio system in for him, and I think his security system. So that's great. Jerry Dale's been a great friend. We met Carol Baskin together. We actually met her live on a live stream on Clapper. And yes, she is evil looking in live stream person as she is on that show. I didn't trust her one bit when Jerry Dale went up. They didn't want to talk to us because they didn't know who Jerry Dale was. But Jerry Dale he went in there anyways. And that's a good thing about Jerry Dale. He took us into the ranch. I was talking to security, and then the guy said, there goes Carol Baskin. We went over and met Carol Baskin. So you couldn't ask for a better wingman than Jerry Dale. Jerry Dale's the man. Jerry Dale's the man. All right, let's look at a little more at these financial situations. We keep seeing different places that are laying off. We see different industries that are seeing drops in sales, especially the department stores. And what is that a good signal of? Well, Christmas is coming. And if they're seeing these drops in sales at this time of year, that shows you there's some instability. People are not spending that money for a reason because they can't afford things. They can't afford fuel and food and things. You know, that little extra cash you used to have where you go in Target and buy a few extra things. That little extra cash you used to have where you go to Walmart and buy a few. Oh, I like that. Because Walmart engineers that whole dang store just to get you to buy something you didn't plan on buying when you walk in there. I mean, it's smart. And I wish I could figure out how to do it online. I'm working on it. And if you go in there and buy that auger, hey, I'm gonna tell you, you're probably gonna walk out with an auger. Jerry Dutton, he's waiting on a special package. He went in there and bought one of my char tins. I'm proud of that char tin. I found that thing. I was like, that right there that's gonna be my char chamber. But yeah, I mean, hey, we're gonna engineer it. We're gonna do our best to sell you all kinds of bushcraft gear. But it's gonna be good stuff. But no, Walmart's one of them people that does that. And all these department sales are cutting their inventory by billions of dollars, or their orders by billions of dollars, because people are not spending money anymore. So we're going to read this. This is from the New York CNN business branch. Target's profit plunged 52% in the third quarter, and the retailer warned of a sluggish holiday. Target blamed inflation and a deteriorating economic outlook for its miserable quarter, and also lowered its outlook for the rest of the year. Now, they're not just worried about the election time. They're worried about the rest of the year. I mean, the next, month or so, month and a half we got left of 2022, we're not seeing it get no better, folks. That's what Target's saying. At least Target's not saying it. That sent shares down more than 12% in pre-market trading. CEO Brian Cornell said that in recent weeks that sales and profit trends softened meaningfully, with guests' shopping behavior increasingly impacted by inflation, rising interest rates, and economic uncertainty. And then we see these counter claims, these counter articles. Hey, it's getting better. The economy's great. It's gonna be wonderful. The election solved all our problems. I mean, the price of gas ain't went down. And he basically said, the man with the plan, but the Build Back Better plan, he said, I'm not changing nothing. I'm not changing nothing. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep shutting down coal plants. We're going to keep building windmills. We're going to keep shutting it all down. We're going to increase the need for coal plants and shut them down, because you're not going to power all those electric cars with windmills. I'm just telling you. If this was that viable, they'd have figured that out a long time ago. It's dirty energy, folks, and we've looked at these electric cars. People had to stop every 100 miles and do a full charge, and you had to sit there a long time to charge. 27 times people had to sit and charge on a 2,700-mile journey in one of the best, most well-equipped electric trucks there are. We are seeing Elon Musk. He's the only one I think could actually do anything with the electric car industry. That catastrophe that is the electric car industry. And he's talking about maybe buying GM. I seen an interview where he was talking about buying GM because they're shutting down some factories. So I don't know if he's going to buy GM or he's going to buy old GM factories that they're shutting down so that he can do more widespread, more affordable versions of the Tesla, which they would work in a city, I believe, but they're not going to work out here in the country. I'm just going to tell you, it ain't going to happen. Too much work. And that's where the diesel issues come in, because America runs on diesel. It runs on diesel, folks. You may be getting everywhere in your gasoline powered car. You might be getting everywhere in your electric car, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of the power plants that aren't run on coal, a lot of the heating, a lot of that stuff's been as byproducts of diesel. And a lot of your big trucks that haul that dang gnat's back again. It's like hey, it's time for the show. It's gonna be my little mascot, a little gnat. He just won't go away. I just won't go away. But I mean, the trains, the tractors, the trucks, the rich people's generators in their little gated off communities, they all run on diesel. Yeah, and we're seeing more states declare fuel shortage emergencies. We're seeing more companies talk about, that people are going to have to phone in ahead of time, set up orders in well advance to get their diesel, which I think that's already something people do. So I don't know. Have a big sale day and you run out, you better just close the pumps down. In London, soaring energy costs drove UK inflation to a fresh high in October. The latest piece of bad news for an economy sliding into recession. The annual rate of inflation rose to 11.1% in October, up from 10.1% in the 12 months to September. The Office for National Statistics said on Wednesday the sharp increase in living costs was caused by rising gas and electricity prices, despite a government energy price guarantee which caps energy bills at £2,500, 2,970 American dollars for the typical household. Food price inflation rose 16.4%. So the European people are having a harder hit than we are when it comes to inflation. They are seeing other things that are causing issues. They're seeing other shortages, other problems. Now, this is from CNN Business New York. I come a lot from CNN because the trolls want to know, where'd you get that? And I know they all watch CNN. So if they want to argue with me, hey, you're arguing with CNN, my friend. I hate CNN, but their websites usually have pretty straightforward news articles. When it comes to politics, I don't even care. We don't do a lot of political stories. We just announce what's happening. And it's usually a majority of the station's accounts and newspapers and reporters are reporting on the same thing. And we just post that. But Protocol, the upstart technology news website launched by former Politico owner and publisher Robert Albritton in early 2020, will shutter later this week and lay off dozens of staffers. People familiar with the matter told CNN on Tuesday. See, what we're seeing is people are not able to pay for those extra things. Like, there's a lot of things I would like to do with this, but we got bills to pay. And so it's literally, running off what we got. I do a whole lot because I'm doing leg work. I'm not earning no money for the labor and the time that I put into this. So, I do this for y'all. But again, I'm right there with y'all. I don't got the money to go out and go a bunch of places. I actually had a friend that got mad at me the other day because I couldn't go somewhere. I'm like, look, we got work all week. We're not going anywhere today because we're saving that money. We got Christmas coming. We're doing our best to get by like anybody else. I'm not sitting here, proclaiming my miseries to you. I'm all right with or without. Like Paul, I've learned to abound and be abased. Heck, I'll go out here in the woods and make me something if I ain't got nothing. I might go out there and make the kids a knife out of a fowl. I got a bunch of old fowls out there. We'll do something for them, and we'll make it look nice. And we'll show y'all on the videos when I do that. That might be a good idea for Christmas. Make everybody a homemade knife. But save me some money. Folks, that's what we want to do. We see a time coming when it's going to be like our forefathers in the early 1900s. They'll look back on these things, and it'll be like that song. You should have seen it in color. If we look like we were scared to death, couple of kids trying to make it through. You should have seen it in color. But yeah, I'm trying to teach you how to reclaim those old world skills, those old hand tools that every man used to have, that every man used to use. We didn't have to go, the Bible always talks about the debtor's slave to the lender. We're counseled not to go in debt. And that's just good common sense. I'll tell you one thing about the Bible, whether you believe it or not, there's a whole lot of good common sense in there. And there's a whole lot of people that don't believe in God or Jesus that they think there's a lot of good common sense in there. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So I'm going to tell you, check it out, folks. You're going to find a lot of good common sense in there, especially Proverbs, Psalms, like all the other 64 books that's in there. I don't get into apocryphal stuff at all, so, because I feel like that's not what God wants in there. It'd be in there. But no, King James, New King James, whatever translation. But yeah, the slave to the lender, we got to start making stuff again. We got to start having skills again. We got to start having trades again, and then we can form that. Dang, that won't go away. I'm going to get me a shirt with a gnat on it that says, I just won't go away. Y'all can quit watching, but I'm still going to be here when there's 2 people in the chat. Yeah, we need to brush up the Bible and our skill sets. There's, I see so many times when the temple was being created in the Old Testament, these people with natural abilities, is like God enhanced these abilities. I'm like, man, do that with my woodwork. Help me really make something beautiful. Ain't probably nobody afford to buy it when I'm done, but we'll do a trade. You got a nice gun, you got a nice knife. We'll do it. We'll work something out. You gotta may come down to you got some meat, and I don't got no meat in the fridge. You got some deer meat. I'll trade you a bench over here. I mean, oh, that's beautiful. I'll take it. You got a bunch of apples I can make apple butter out of. I'll trade you this here cutting, but it's new cutting board I made. I'll make you a knife out of a file. But people used to make Christmas presents. I'll tell you, here's the thing. I was watching a documentary on History Channel, and they were talking about how we progressed into materialism when it comes to the Christmas season. Used to be a time when somebody brought you a pie, you'd be like, oh, heck yeah. Somebody brought you a fruitcake. Yeah, I like that. That's good. You're so glad, just whatever they give you, because it came from their heart. They done it themselves. Now, somebody bring one of my kids up a pie. Now, and this ain't me. I'll take any pie you want to send me. You contact me if you want to send me one of your homemade pies, as long as it'll get here in time and ain't molded. And even then, I might still eat it if it's not on the whole pie. But yeah, my kids be like, what? I don't want that. They want a video game. They want this. They want that. I believe it's going to hit a lot of them hard. Will they survive? Yeah, they'll survive. But in the end, we got to start making stuff again. We got to start doing things on our own. The average person used to be a multi-faceted person, a jack of all trades. Why? Because they couldn't afford to do nothing. We got to start learning skills, my friends, not just technological skills. We got to start bringing back some of them old world hand tool skills. You need to get to the yard sale. You need to get to the flea market. You need to get to the estate sale, and you need to grab up them tools before somebody takes them off to the scrap yard. You know how many old tools I've seen when I was hauling scrap, and I wasn't even into it yet. I might have done it myself. You know how many people hauled off weight sets, old tool sets, old workbenches, just to get the cash out of them. And then here I am, older now, wiser now. I think I'm wiser. And I'm thinking, man, I wished I wouldn't have hauled that to the scrap yard. I mean, it was nice, and I could have used it, but I hauled it off. Old hatchet heads that we found behind Eddie's study buried in the junk pile because they broke a handle, and they just chunked it back there and went and bought a brand new one. And, I could have replaced those. I could have had brand new hatchets. I would have had to buy half the axes and hatchets if I had just kept what I found in old junk piles. But, yeah, we had to get that weight up 1 more ounce. We think too much in the now. And I've been guilty of that. You've been guilty of that. We all been guilty of that. But we got to start thinking ahead. And that's why I talk about this. We got to think ahead. Not just the average person, but the prepper in general. If you're putting up a bunch of food, you better have a plan for when that food runs out, because the clock's already ticking for a lot of folks. I know a lot of preppers that have had to dip into their preps. I mean, there's one of my friends on here. He told me one of this is me and the wife are talking about we're fixing to have to start breaking into that food. And he was talking about the price going up and all this. And we have Luther Jennings saying he loves pie. I do too. Now, Luther, if you want to cook me a pie and send it, you get hold of me. I'll eat that thing, whatever it is, unless it's one of them pies like on that movie, The Help. I don't want none of them. So we will have it tested. Moose and caribou. Living Off Grid Alaska says they got some moose and caribou. Heck yeah, that's maybe. I think this is my. Is this okay? That's not him. I thought this was my buddy, the Alaskan oyster farmer, for a second, but I can tell the difference. But yeah, I got a lot of friends in Alaska. Hey, yeah, send me some of that moose and caribou. Yeah, we'll take it. Trump or DeSantis. I'll be honest with you, I don't really care at this point. It's all a farce. It's all a setup. DeSantis, I like him, but at the same time, I don't even really care. I almost didn't vote this last season just because it's just. I mean, look at it. Look at that mess. Look at that mess. It don't matter what you think. And if you agree a little bit with one side, then you do the other on something. Oh, it's a war. You're such and such. No, man. At some point in time, I got my own beliefs. I don't let politicians tell me what to think. I'm tired of that. I remember back in the late '90s, early 2000s, and they had everybody sold on that war. And now, I mean, there's a lot of folks that's stupid. They had the Christian community sold on a whole lot of things, back then. And I don't agree with some of those things. I'm gonna tell you, there's one thing I won't never back down on. And a couple things I won't back down on, but there's a few things that, hey, I can't force people to believe like I believe, and that's what they were pushing. Now we're seeing this from CNN. Yeah, again, y'all can't argue with CNN, y'all, the trolls that like to come in here. The world's population will reach 8 billion people on Tuesday. representing a milestone in human development. Before birth rates start to slow, according to a projection from the United Nations in a statement, the UN said the figure meant 1 billion people had been added to the global population in just 12 years. Think about that. 12 years, a little over a decade, we added 1 billion people. What's going to happen if we're adding 1 billion people? What if that doubles? Because usually when you bring a larger group, that's more babies going to be born. So how long is it going to be before we're producing 1 billion every 5 years? Think about that. They say we're overpopulated. I don't know. I personally like Elon Musk's idea. Let's go to Mars. Hey, there's plenty of room. There's plenty of room if we go to Mars. If we start going to other planets, I say let's do that. I want to make that show Firefly a reality. I want to be a space cowboy. Who wants to be a space cowboy with me? I mean, I love that show. I'd love to have a spaceship. I'd like to have a horse on a spaceship. That way I really was a space cowboy. That's what I'm thinking about. Let's go further in the news. Speaking of space, Cape Canaveral, Florida, this is from the Associated Press. NASA's new moon rocket blasted off on its debut flight with 3 test dummies aboard Wednesday, bringing the U.S. a big step closer to putting astronauts back on the lunar surface for the first time since the end of the Apollo program 50 years ago. It all goes well during the 3-week flight. The crew capsule will be propelled into a wide orbit around the moon and then return to Earth with a Pacific splashdown in December. After years of delays and billions in cost overrun, the Space Launch System rocket thundered skyward. Pause dramatically for a drink of good Waker's coffee, our personal brand. Join our team today. Back to the news, the rest of this story. Rising from Kennedy Space Center on 8.8 million pounds, 4 million kilograms of thrust and hitting 100 miles per hour, 160 kilogram kph. We'll say kph. Within seconds, the Orion capsule was perched on top and less than 2 hours into the flight, busted out of Earth's orbit toward the moon. Yeah, we're going back to the moon. I think this is another space race. They found out China's trying to get up there, so they're trying to get back first. We got to beat them back before they get up there and they start building factories and before they put in missile bases and blow us off the map. Because China don't follow the rules. China just does whatever they want. Yeah, doomsday pockets. Come on, Jester. You don't want to go be a space cowboy with me on the moon. You don't want to go to Mars and be we're going to have to genetically engineer horses that can survive in the Martian atmosphere. That's the first step to space cowboys, and I'm a big proponent of that. If they start that research, hey, I'm willing to come in and ride those horses just to make sure that they're a viable stallion. We'll get out there and ride them. We'll get out there. We'll ride them through the plains of Mars. We'll ride them over the mountains of Mars. I'm getting crazy now, but I just like the whole idea of space cowboys because I watched that Firefly, even a little bit of Star Trek Next Generation. I like that stuff. Now, this again is from the AP. Americans are bracing for a costly Thanksgiving this year with a double-digit % increase in the price of turkey, potatoes, stuffing, canned pumpkin, and other staples. The U.S. government estimates food prices will be up 9.5% to 10.5% this year. Historically, they've risen only 2% annually. Lower production and higher costs for labor, transportation, and items are part of the reason. Disease, rough weather, and the war in Ukraine are also contributors. So there's a perfect solution we have for this. We've done it at churches. We've done it at our, different functions, family functions over the years. Hey, everybody, potluck. Everybody bring something. If your job's giving you a turkey for Thanksgiving, which they may not, they may be too high. They may give you a chicken. I don't know. They may give you a ham. They may give you a big old tube of bologna. Hey, smoked bologna is great. Whatever, everybody bring a little something. It may not be conventional, but hey, you're going to be thankful for it. Think about that. We've done this for years. When we have them potlucks at church or homecoming dinner, everybody come back to their home base, come back to church, eat been there forever, but hey, they're having a meal. We're going to go back today. Everybody's welcome. That's the day. It don't matter how long you've been gone. Nobody's gonna say nothing. You come in and have some of this dressing and biscuits and chicken casserole. Hey, everybody puts a little bit in this. Everybody brings one little thing of fare. Everybody's gonna have a good time. I'm telling you. Now, if the Cokes being double price is gonna cost you a little, hey, make some punch. Hey, we used to make some mean punch with some Sprite and whatever else they put in it, but it was red by the time it got in my cup. I'm just gonna tell you, it's probably Kool-Aid and Sprite. Hey, you can have a cheap Thanksgiving, my friends. Doomsday Podcast. We need a lot of Ready Wise. Hey, this is a Doomsday Podcast Ready Wise commercial. Go follow his link. We're both reps for Ready Wise right now. He's with that prep stock. They sent him a dang solar system. Heck yeah! I don't know if he had to put something in on that himself, but I know that I seen that solar system. I've been wanting that ever since I seen that on the website. Congratulations on that, buddy. He's one step more prepared. But if you want that solar system, go to ReadyWise.com. Go through my link to get that one though. You go get your venture meals through Jester. We'll split the difference there. You go get your meals through him. You go get your solar power generator through me. Yeah, we'll do that. They took care of you on that one. Heck yeah, they did. That's about a $1,500, $2,000 system right there. Put in a good word for me. I can't afford to buy one right now. I can't even afford a Jackery right now. I can barely afford a little fold up when I got in there right now because these kids is eating me out of house and home. But I digress because I love my kids. We're going to put food in them one way or another. They're going to stay alive. And this is going to be that little anomaly thing, the thing you probably ain't never heard of. The thing you didn't know about, the thing I didn't know about, this was an issue. And it's kind of similar to the quiet quitting anomaly we're seeing in America. China had its own version of that. Now, this story it's about this young man, Yan Ji. He puts a sign up that says, "I am Bailening. Leave me alone." It said, read a note posted on the door of 28-year-old Yan Ji's bedroom. Yan, who shares a flat with a colleague in suburban Shanghai, was mocking himself, saying he was lazy. By using a new buzz phrase, Bailen, which literally means let it rot, that is becoming increasingly popular among young Chinese people. Bailen refers to an attitude of giving up on deteriorating situations. It comes from a sentiment among many young people in China that they are powerless to combat forces making social expectations unattainable. I mean, does that sound familiar to you? Got to be a hard worker. Attaboy, get at it. And it's increasingly, you're picking up more and more slack at your job. Your back is increasingly being whipped while some other person's sitting in the office getting the glory for it while they just push, and you get fed up with it. Yeah, sounds a lot like what's happening here in America. A lot of reasons these workplaces and these corporations are having a hard time getting people in there. Gen Z's not wanting to be a factory-based employee anymore. They're entrepreneurial. They're actually trying to take down the corporate aristocracy. They're gonna that Luxottica. I can't remember. They control all eyewear. If you go to the eye doctor, they control everything. They may have a different name, but they own it. They even bought out Oakley. I'm pretty sure they bought out Oakley. Oakley was one of their few competitions in the sunglass realm. They worked it around until they took that control of that. And then when you see now you got these little startups that's coming in on the internet and people are going to get them cheap contacts now. I'm thinking about it myself. I've been looking at it. My sister-in-law, she started getting them and she's supposed to love them things. So yeah, but they're cheaper. See, we're seeing that people doing more of those things. You're seeing more and more startups online. You're seeing people that create a store and they have so much access on social media to advertise. There's so much access to advertisement on social media. Whereas used to, you had to pay a lot to be on cable networks and satellite. That's not the case anymore. Everybody's got access now. That's why I love this. It's kind of opening up the door for a lot of social evangelists, we call them, people like me. We got a certain niche, but we preach the word. Yeah, there ain't no more American-made Luther Jennings. Um, but they are selling stuff from China and drop shipping. So that's something that I do because it's the only place I can find the stuff I need to sell. And if there's better stuff, well, there's people that own the patents, but they're still getting Chinese people and Pakistanis to make it. So it's a wild thing. But at least you're supporting an American who's selling it if you buy from me. There you go. But we've seen that you can get hamstrung real quick in ministry in whatever organization. If certain people have a reason to not want you to do something, they can limit you, and that's not just ministry; that's anywhere. But here's the thing, we can get online, and if you build a following, ain't nobody stopping that. If the Lord opens up that door, ain't nobody stopping that. There's so many times I wonder why didn't this open up? The Lord brought me on here and He got this going, and I get to minister to people every day, And I don't got nobody telling me this is how you're going to do it. This is the way we've always done it. No, hey, this is a brand new thing. And y'all come in here if you want to. Y'all support if you want to. It don't cost me a ton of money. I don't got a ton of overhead. I got a Wi-Fi bill, and I've got a website cost every year for the store and all that. And then I got shipping costs sometimes when you buy something and I ship it to you. And then I got to buy paper to print things off on. And then we have to drink coffee. So is that. So my power is running low. Let me plug it in real quick. I got me a cord somewhere over here. Power is running out. So I'm going to tell you, on this show, folks, you get to see it all. You can get to see me run my phone out of charge, just about. But we're about to call it. We're about to be done. I'm about to go in there and start getting supper ready for them youngins and getting ready to put them to work. But yeah, the Chinese youth are just like, let it rot. They're tired of being pushed. They're tired of doing all these things that they're told they have to do. This generation around the world, the current workforce generation that's been there for a decade or so, the ones that are coming in, they are fed up with corporate overlords pushing. That's why you see the Let It Rot movement there. You see the quiet quitting here. People are increasingly tired of being told what they have to do to adhere to social norms. That's why the get woke, go broke thing started, because you have people that are literally coming in attacking people for microaggressions, what they call microaggressions, and it's basically nobody even half the time knows what they're talking about, and people are tired of being pushed. People are tired of being told what to do. Why do you think people are leaving these high dollar corporate jobs and going out and starting homesteads? You've got a movement now in the 30-something year range, 40-something year range, where these people are making they're like killing themselves for a certain amount of time, and then they retire early because they pay everything off. They put enough money aside to buy property, and then they just turn into homesteaders. And you're going to have to take over for me, ain't you? Living off grid. Quiet quit. And that's what happens living off grid, Alaska. There was a long time where I started realizing these youngins right here, they don't care about this. They're just here because Daddy made them. They're just here because this is all they can get. They didn't get the money to go to college. That all got give out to somebody else. They didn't fit that category. They didn't get it. They couldn't afford it. So they come out to work over here. And then they get here and they're like, this is what I got to do. I got to do this run around. All I'm getting is an attaboy. And this big guy sitting up here in the office telling me to do something, and then it tears up, and it's still my fault, even though I did what he said. And so I remember there was many places I had to work piled up. And it broke me. It made me mad. I got tired of it. I said, here we go. This is what you're going to get. And that's incidentally when I had to go to a different workplace when I finally decided that. And then they are falling to shambles at that place because they've got rid of the workers and kept their favorites in the office. And that's what you have happening right there. No more favorites. Everybody's getting screwed. Yeah. And again, that's another more your college educated geniuses running them factories in the ground. But again, we're seeing this around the world. People are tired of what's going on. It's kind of like birth pains, working towards a new age. People are welcoming in the fall of society because it sucks. People don't like how it is right now. The average worker may not tell you that, but they don't like how that place they're working at's being run. That guy that's never been on the floor, that girl that's never been on the floor out there doing the legwork, telling you what you got to do and how you're lazy if you don't do that. And she's tired or he's tired of all these people destroying everything, and you're doing what they said. You're doing what they said. It's just what they said. They didn't know enough about to make that decision. And it destroyed the whole system that's been going for all them years on pins and needles. And now they're getting chewed out by corporate. Oh, it's these workers' fault. They're lazy. They're lazy. They're not doing enough. It's this new generation of kids. I hear these things all the time. We're seeing, we've even had politicians that are, they're notifying us of this workforce collapse that's happening right now. They're saying if we don't start doing something now about this workforce collapse that's taking place, they're saying we're not going to have a workforce. And like I said, you got one people on one side saying you got these immigrants coming across the border illegally, taking our jobs, getting paid less. And then you got this other group saying we got to bring them in. They don't need no checks and balances, and so they're not fixing the system. Neither one of them has a solution. But yet we got factories running short of workers. Now we supposedly had tons of illegals come across the illegal immigrants come across the border. Where are they at? Why are we seeing worker shortages everywhere? Why are all these construction guys I'm talking to not got anybody in there working? Because these guys a lot of times come in and go into these cash-based payment systems, and I'm not seeing them. So that does lead me to wonder how many really are coming across the border right now. But at the same time, why are we not fixing it where they're coming in and they can have benefits, they can have healthcare access at a good solid job, while they can't have the documents they need, while they can't have what they need and have a path to citizenry, so they'll stop coming in illegal, they'll come in legally. Because we've done this at one time, people, and it didn't destroy the country. And we'll bring them in, and as we have this rising class of entrepreneurs, you'll have another rising class of working base as we try to bring more manufacturing back to America. And then if they want to go up into this entrepreneurial space, they can. Why can't we work together on that? Why? Because it's a political talking point on both sides, and so many people have got reelected decade after decade on that talking point. That's why it doesn't get fixed. And for those of you that are anti-gun, you know why the gun debate does not get fixed in America? Because half of the people fighting it on both sides would never be able to get elected again if they went simply on their merit. It's talking points and narratives that we've been lured into. Yeah. So here we go. We're at the end of the chaos case. If you're seeing a lot of these things that I report on concern you and it makes you stressed, you don't have to be. We always talk about that. Always prepared, never scared. That's our motto. And I'm going to tell you, folks, this is my religious part of this. So if you don't want to be in here during it, you ain't got to be. I'm not forcing this on you, but this is where I talk about my experience as a Christian. There is this one scripture that I've stood firm on. It's called, "Be anxious for nothing, but with all prayer, supplication, thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto the Lord. And the peace that surpasses all understanding shall come upon you." This is the thing it's not the food, it's not the weapons, it's not the tools, it's not the gear, it's not the things I have put up, it's not the ammo that makes me prepared. Those are good things to have. It's common sense to have what they need. David went out and got his 5 smooth stones. We're told to be like the ant and prepare, but there's a thin line where you got to use common sense, and then there ain't nothing you can do. It might all burn. They might raid you. The government might figure out how to get it when you're not home, because the FEMA can come in and take everything you got. Patriot Act allows that. How am I always prepared? It is my relationship with the Lord. I've tested this. I'm still here. That's the main evidence. I've been put through the ringer physically, mentally, spiritually. I've faced a number of different things over the years. And one day, when there was the temptation to be worried about something that was about to happen. I remember my wife, she was starting to get afraid. And I said, look, we're still here. This will be okay. The Lord's always taking care of us. And you know what? He took care of us. That was about 10 years ago I come up with that. And then now I'm coming into this always prepared, never scared thing. I'm continuously seeing that. There's times when it doesn't seem like my ministry's having any impact, and God opens up doors I never thought would get open. I'm continuously seeing that happen. There's times when I wish I had more help, and then hey, somebody shows up. Lord's always opening up doors. Then there's times where we're seeing these financial issues, but God opens up doors. I've had literally too many coincidences to even call it a coincidence at this point. He's been on my side. He's took care of me. It may not always look good, but in the end, he was working for my good, for that expected end, that outcome that I needed. It may have not seemed like what I needed at the time, but it was preparing me for the next thing. And Rhonda, you're not always going to feel like he's there. Sometimes he's tiptoeing real quiet because that's what the situation requires. Sometimes that situation you're going through there, he's building something in you didn't know you had. I can say I'm better for all the hard times I went through where I didn't feel like he was watching me. I'm better for it. I've made it through. I'm still here. I got a little wisdom to share with the next guy coming, or next guy or gal, or 60 or whatever the other 60 genders they identify as, that I can share with them and share the gospel of Christ with them, and they can take it how they need to take it. They can take it, how they want to. But at the end of the day, I'm here to reach you for Jesus, no matter where your position, no matter what you believe. At the end of the day, I'm going to share Jesus with you because he's been the one that took care of me. He's been the one that supplied my need. And if you're interested in that, he's just a prayer away. He's been knocking on the door for a while. And maybe you've ignored it for whatever reason, for whatever hurt, for whatever pain. He's saying, hey, I'll take that burden. Dang that. Flying everywhere. We're talking about the Lord right now. That's my pet gnat. Dad, blame it. I'm talking about the Lord right now. But I'm easily distracted. If there was somebody behind me with a laser pointer, I'd be over there trying to slap that thing like a cat. But he's just a prayer away. There may be a hurt. There may be a mistake in the past. There may be something you feel like keeping you from that point. There may be some point where you don't understand. I guarantee you put it in his hands, he will prove himself to you. He's proved it to me. And the Lord will bless you. Rhonda, we're going to say a special prayer for you during this time of trial, tribulation, but also we call it time of training. Whatever you're facing, don't look at it as hardship. What can I learn? What will God teach me in this? He can take every situation, teach you, and equip you with. And hey, use that as a learning. What do you want from me out of this, God? What can I learn? And I'm going to guarantee you're going to be better equipped to minister, better equipped to help, better equipped to make it through the next thing. Because life's a trial. If you didn't know that, I feel like we're in the probationary phase of training. We're in the training room right now for our future, for eternity. What's because it ain't going to be sitting on clouds playing harps up there, folks. It's going to be what he leads us to. It's going to be what he needs us to do, because we're going to be ruling and reigning with him. Bible says, do you not know that you will judge angels, or in other translations that you will rule angels? Hey, he's getting us ready for his eternal kingdom, whatever he's doing next. He needed some help. The angels screwed up and failed there at one point in time. Satan took a third of them, so he's like, we got to fix this. I'm going to make somebody more like myself with free choice, freedom of decision and choice, and we're going to rule around. I don't know what we're doing next, but heaven ain't going to be born. Eye hath not heard, ear hath not. Ear hath not heard, eye hath not seen. Oh Lord, y'all don't be telling my pastor. Don't be telling my pastor. I got that all mixed up like that. But we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna pray for everybody in here, and we're gonna ask you just whether you need Christ, whether you don't need Christ. You just want some time in here with us while we're praying, to feel that presence of the Lord coming in where you're at. We're gonna do that with you real quick. And then we'll end here in a second. But I'm going to pray with you today. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray you work with Rhonda right now, God. You see the divorce she's dealing with. You see the issues that she's facing. God, let this turn into a training ground. Don't let this be a burial ground. Let this be a training ground for her, God. Let her find her strength here. Let her find her stride here. Let her learn to run with the footmen so that later she can run with the horsemen, Lord God. The battle is not hers. It's not the world's. It's not her spouse's. It is yours, God. And I pray in the name of Jesus right now, you fill her with the strength and the anointing to face this and overcome this and get through this, no matter what it is. You help her to turn it over to you and find her strength in you, to be anxious for nothing, but with all prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, to turn it over to you, Lord, right now. And I thank you, Lord, for all you've done during this time, how you've helped us educate people about what's going on around them, encourage them to grow, but mainly to grow and trust in you to help them through, God. I pray that you, with all of my best intentions, God, I pray that you begin to work in those that have come in here. You begin to move in those that's come in here. You begin to help them and guide them, God, and strengthen them. Those that have helped with this, these moderators I have that have helped with this, God, you strengthen them, because as they participate in this ministry and this multicast, God, I pray that you just they're going to face some kind of kickback. The enemy don't like that when we start doing your work, God, and I've seen it in my own life, and I thank you for your strength. You helped me get through, and I pray right now you just start putting your strength in them as we go through this. Help them grow, help them strengthen. And then, God, I pray you begin to draw those in here that need to find that comfort and peace in you, Lord, during these trying times. You begin to draw those in here that can add to us and not take away from us. I pray you begin to nullify the trolls that would come in here and hinder. I pray you begin to nullify the political attitudes that would come in here and try to hinder. And I pray, God, you help us to help people and do your will, Lord, every day. Lord, as we come in here, in Jesus' name we pray, and they all said amen. We thank you for coming in to the Chaos Cast. And before we leave, I want to say go to the link in our bio, edge29chaos.com. Go to our website. We've got our links on the landing page to our different sponsors. You're going to find great gear that we've tested, we've approved, we've bought from these folks. We've used the gear that they display in these commercials, and we want you to go check them out. And if you're looking for your own business, we are going to be working on the Wakers Coffee team right now. You can contact us. We're going to have that link up soon, so be watching for that. You can drink this happy coffee you see me drink every day, and all this happiness that we get every day out of drinking this wonderful coffee. You can either buy it for yourself. It's a superfood coffee, or you can go and you can become part of our team and start your side hustle to help you through these hard times. See, we're working on helping folks. We are working on helping you build those things. We're trying to have amenities. We're trying to have sources. We're trying to bring you the news. We're trying to upload blogs. We're trying to do a lot of things that can help you right now. We hope that we help you. We hope that you join us in helping others and sharing out this content. If you just give us a follow, go to our page and share out that content. Help us get it out there. Leave a comment. Find the video you like. Download that thing. Practice it yourself. Learn from it. Grow in it. Give us a follow here and on all our social media. And go to the website. Because if you miss one of our lives and you want to keep up with what we're talking about every day or every other day when we come in here, go to Spotify and search Chaos Cast. Get on the website. You can go to the website, and we actually have the podcast page, and it's going to have the 3 latest podcasts that we have available as they upload. We've got the live stream page where you can go back on YouTube and watch the recaps of the live streams. We got something for everybody. We even got a book. We wrote a novel. It's a free novel. We got the link to our writing projects. You can go there and you can find Down the Fall. It's an unconventional, end-of-the-world, thrilling novel. But hey, we're a little unconventional here. Everybody gets shrunken. I don't know why low power mode come on, but it froze up. But everybody gets shrunken in this story. But it's a free story. There's a lot of misspelled things because that autocorrect thing on that phone, it was all jacked up. So just overlook the misspelling and the wrong words and the words that got skipped and deleted, because that phone, it's been dead and gone for 10 years now. But that book's on there. Go check it out. You got something free to read. It's going to be fun and exciting. You can download it and read it wherever you're at. Download the podcast. Listen to it wherever you're at. If you're entertained, hey, we're going to do our best to entertain you. But go check out the website. Go hit those links. Go get your Blackbeard fire starters. Go get your knives. If you're looking for your most important tool and you need a good knife, we have a nice selection of Damascus steel blades, skinning blades, hunting blades, butcher knives. We have a great selection of them. You can support us right now. You get something out of it. We get a little something out of it. Our friend Adnan, he's chomping at the bit, waiting for somebody to put an order in, waiting for somebody that wants to sell these, because we're authorized to deal these and set you up with him and get you supplied with these. But yeah, go check the website out. Go subscribe to our email list, s29chaos.com. You're going to get notifications. You're going to get the Chaos Chronicles. You're going to get that notification in your emails when we update those blogs, and they're going to have links to all kinds of different amenities that we have. You're going to get updates on new products. You're going to get updates on different things. We're doing exclusive content because we got exclusive content only on the website. It's unlisted on the other apps, and it's exclusively there. Kill, clean, and cook videos for squirrel hunting. We're working on getting some deer butcher, and we're going to work on getting more farm butchering videos. I got family that butchers hogs and butchers cattle. We're going to do some chicken butchering here ourselves. So go check that out, folks. We thank you for Rhonda. Thank you for them gifts. Thank you for them gifts. I appreciate that a whole lot. Again, if you want to support us, we'll give you a bunch of different ways, and we thank all of you. Go join that email list, and you're going to find out what we're doing. Thank y'all for coming in. I hope that y'all have a good one today. Have a good one, my friends. And we're done.